All right, how do y'all fuck with the Perry the Platypus fit? I call this one the toothpaste and orange juice summer morning. But anyway, I just finished up the Marvel Rivals video, and that one's clocking in at about a little bit over an hour. So I want to make this one quick, and this one is about Deadlock, the other game that I'm super excited for. And to be honest, more excited for than Marvel Rivals. The MOBA genre has always been a genre I wanted to get into. I've tried playing some Dota, I've tried playing some League of Legends, but I can never really get like hooked on it. You know, I can never really sink my teeth into it and get into it because I love the concept. I love the concept of the lanes. I love the towers. I love buying items and scaling and progressing in a PvP setting while leveling up. I love everything about that. The issue with these games like League of Legends, right, that I can never really get into and never really attach to the game is the style of combat, right? The sort of top-down RPG-esque, kind of point and click sort of combat, and it never really, it never appealed to me. It was something I never liked, despite how much of the other mechanics and the general concept of the game that I really liked and admired. But Deadlock seems to be exactly what I was yearning for. I always wanted to get into the MOBA genre, but just didn't like the general gameplay. And I always thought, why is there not just a hero shooter like Overwatch, right? But a MOBA version of Overwatch. Why can't basically the same concept of League of Legends be ported to Overwatch? And I always thought that. I always wished that, and call Valve a genie and rub Gabe's belly 3 times because they answered my fucking wishes. And this has basically always been a wish of mine, and this is exactly what this looks like. Everything about this game looks amazing. Now I didn't watch as much gameplay and analyze it as deeply or as intently as I did with Marvel Rivals, but honestly, I still watched a good 2, maybe 3 hours of gameplay, and I saw no complaints with the game. I also watched Stylosa's video on it, which Stylosa is a YouTuber that I've always admired, even back when I watched his Overwatch content, back when I played Overwatch, right? Stylosa is a YouTuber I always enjoy watching, and I think he makes great stuff. And I watched his video, and like I said, he had pretty much no complaints about the game, and everything I saw from all the gameplay looked absolutely fucking beautiful, which, like I said, I didn't really get that same feeling with Marvel Rivals. When watching Marvel Rivals, there was a lot of red flags, there were a lot of things that concerned me, there were a lot of things that I didn't like. But Deadlock, there was really nothing. Everything I felt like made sense that was put into the game. There was nothing that really stood out to me, nothing that gave me any kind of like spidey sense tinglings, nothing that really shook me at all. Everything about it looked great, and I'm super excited for it. So I'm not going to break down it. I'm not going to analyze it. That's not really my job to do. I don't have the game. I didn't get to play the game. So watch someone else for that. But my general feelings is, yeah, this game looks good. This game looks promising. And the thing that I do love and admire about it is that it has, professional MOBA players and professional gamers on the development team that are from the get-go, from the very start, already designing and balancing the game, which I absolutely love. I think that is a great idea, and I wish more games did that, because I feel like this is a big problem with a lot of competitive games overall, is that the development team you don't know who the fucking development team is. It's a cabal of random fucking guys who got the job God knows how, and likely don't even play the game or know how the game functions, and all they do is look at stats and numbers, which don't always give you the full story. They don't always tell you how the game should be balanced, and they're just like, oh, well, this character had a really high win ratio, so we're going to remove his arms and legs. And I hate when I see balancing like that, and you see that a lot of times where it's like, these are not high-level players. The dev teams, the devs have no idea what they're doing, they have no idea what they're making, and considering that they have, high-level players on the dev team, I think this should be a standard. This should be an industry standard to, hire people who are good at the game or good at other games. If you are in the process of developing a game, hire those kinds of people to help design and help balance the game. I think it's amazing, and I think this game is doing everything right. As far as the character rosters, like I said, I looked through all the characters. I got a good feel of all their abilities, not as much to the extent as Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals, I was like, fucking, I had like a notepad, and I was like being autistic about it. This game, I just watched it, and none of the characters really stood out to me. None of them were all too unique. Nothing about them really shook me in a way. But for the most part, I think it's fine. They didn't try to really go out of their way with a lot of these characters. They didn't try to break the mold. They were just like, okay, here's some generic, basic type characters. If you like playing this character in X game, you like playing this one, right? They didn't try to come up with anything unique or interesting about that, and didn't try to break the mold and come up with their own designs. And I think the designs are fine. They're just very basic characters, especially for a base roster. You don't need anything complicated for a base roster, right? And I think a lot of the depth of the game is not going to come from the characters itself, like a game like Overwatch or Paladins or Marvel Rivals, right? Most of the depth of these games are going to come from the characters and how they interact with each other, how they interact with their team, as well as with the opponent. This game, I feel like a lot of the depth is, of course, going to come from the MOBA aspects. The game is going to be able to, basically, it's going to have plenty of depth, it's going to have plenty to work with, just the simple fact that they're building this game as a MOBA, with the attention of a MOBA, with items and levels and all that great stuff, right? And I'm hyped. I think everything about this game is beautiful. Everything about this game is amazing, and I'm really on board. I'm really excited for it. The only issue that I could say with this game is that they're clearly going for an aesthetic here. They're going for a style, right? And I do love the style. I think it's very cool. It's kind of like this mobster, I don't know, like 1920s, 30s, kind of aesthetic here that they're going for. This like noir kind of theme. And I think every character fits. Every character looks really good in it. However, the issue with going with an aesthetic, while I do applaud them for this, because this is something that a lot of games don't do nowadays. Nowadays, a lot of games are very corporate. They're very marketable, and they don't really go for a specific aesthetic. It's not like, okay, this is what we're going for. Nowadays, video games are trying to appeal to as many people as possible. And while I do applaud them for taking this approach to actually have an aesthetic, have like, okay, this is the theme we're going for, and all the characters are going to fit this theme, I think it's going to shoot them in the foot. The problem with this is, look at a game like Overwatch. Overwatch has pretty much a character that can fit whatever personality or aesthetic you're going for, right? This game, though, it's like all the characters, fit the same kind of theme. In Overwatch, it's like, okay, if I want to play, funny little dwarf man, I got Torbjorn, right? If I want to play a robot, I have Bastion. If I'm, an edgy motherfucker who is a closet racist, I can play Reaper, right? If I like cowboys, I have cowboys. If I want someone who's bubbly and fun and energetic, I got Tracer. If I like jacking off, I have Diva. If I like jacking off to blue girls, I have Widowmaker. If I like the big, strong, righteous, powerful knight type character, I have Reinhardt, right? If I like Monkey, I have Monkey. And if I like ninjas and anime and being an idiot, I have Genji, right? So there's really a sort of just on the base roster for Overwatch, there's really a character for everyone, right? To match anyone's personality. And this game, I don't feel like there's that, which might be a detractor, but I do like that they're going for a theme. I do like they're going for an aesthetic. And I just like this approach. I just like this game. This game looks amazing. I'm surely going to check it out. I see, like I said, as far as I see, with just my own two eyes, with the limited amount of gameplay that I saw, I don't see an issue. I don't see an issue with any choices they make. I don't see anything where it's just like, I think that's questionable. I don't really like that. I think it's good. I think the game's good. I think this is definitely going to be a good game, and is definitely going to have competitive esports, high-level play at the center of the design choices, which I fear is going to be the opposite for Marvel Rivals. I fear that Marvel Rivals is going to have low-level play as their core thought. That's the main thing they're going to be thinking of, is how can we keep low-level players and casual players engaged. This game, I feel like it's going to be the opposite. It's going to be like, okay, how is this going to work for a pro competitive scene? And I think this is a much better approach. This game is going to be, and in the long run, if both of these games stick with these approaches, in the long run, this is going to be much better of a game than Marvel Rivals is going to be. But like I said, with the whole shooting them in the foot, well, if this was just some random, no-name, company with no publicity or anything like that making the exact same game, this might be a bad thing, that they're going for a specific aesthetic, that they're going for a specific look, style, feel. But this game, considering that it's made by Valve, an already known and trusted game company that everybody loves and anticipates anything that they produce, as well as I said, it's already gotten a lot of traction for what it is. And while it did get, because these betas were kind of going along at the same time as Marvel Rivals, and while it did get overshined a little bit, I still heard about it. And I'm surprised that I still heard about it, because if this was any other game, if this wasn't produced by Valve, I probably wouldn't have. And like I said, you had a lot of people playing it, people like Stylosa and whatnot, and a lot of Overwatch players playing it, and like MOBA players playing it. So it's already gotten a bit of traction, and I don't think they probably need to break their aesthetic. They need to break their style, which I do like. I do like seeing a game, especially a competitive multiplayer game, going for a style, going for an aesthetic in the current year, which is extremely rare. Extremely rare. And I that's something that I just haven't seen in years, is a game that doesn't try to make this this is the everyone's game. This is the game made for everyone, and everyone can enjoy this game, and trying to appeal to as broad of an audience as possible. This is something that's plagued video games for a long time, since Fortnite, probably maybe even before Fortnite. And the gaming industry as a whole, and a lot of games overall, have turned into this weird Ready Player One type thing, where it's like, oh, now you have your favorite rappers and fucking streamers and your favorite characters from fiction stuff that you can play as. You can play as Goku, you can play as Homelander, you can play as I don't fucking know, Ricardo and Mortimer. And it's kind of, a lot of games in the recent year have become this weird Ready Player One type shit, with all these crossovers and stuff like that, and I'm not going for a clear aesthetic. Any original characters they do make, it's got to fit some kind of theme, and there's not a specific thing they're going for. And I love seeing this in the current year, that it's like, okay, this is what we're going for. We're going for this theme, we're going for this aesthetic, and this is what we're going to do, and that's fine, right? I do love that. I do love that, and I admire that. And it feels like a game that was made years ago. It feels like a game that should have been made years ago, and doesn't feel like a modern game at all. That's what it looks like to me, and I absolutely adore that. I absolutely love that, because I hate this dystopian type of Ready Player One style of games that have been made recently. Call of Duty, fucking Fortnite, and every game that's been plagued by Fortnite in the last couple of years. But yeah, that's about it. I'm on board. I'm down. I'm extremely excited for this game. But that's it.